Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the It's a Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Bhavika. Thanks for being here. And on today's episode, I want to share with you a very interesting quote that I stumbled upon that hit me at like the exact right time where I needed to find this quote. And it really stuck with me and it sparked this interesting idea and thought that I want to share with all of you. And so the quote was posted by one of my favorite accounts on Instagram, at Visualize Value. The creator is Jack Butcher. And he says that everyone's smart until they start. So let me say that again, because it took me a second to get it, but it hit me hard, and it was a really good realization, something that I needed to hear. And that is, everyone's smart until they start. So allow me to explain. Again, thank you for being here. I'm excited for this episode, so let's get right to it. If you've been following me on Instagram, you might have known that we launched our very first It's a Vibe Mastermind. It was a one-day event where I was teaching a lot more about self-awareness and energy and just how to personally develop on your own. And it was so amazing. It was such a fun day. Thank you, all of you, for all your support, all your kind messages, your encouragement. It was greatly appreciated. And so after that event, since it was the first one, I took a lot of time to reflect on that and look back and really take that experience and as growth and learning. And there were some common themes that kept popping up, and one major idea, one big realization that I had that I want to share with all of you. The main idea and the main point I want to get across for this episode is just do it. Just start. That thing that you've been putting off, just do it. The thing that you've always wanted to do, just start. The business that you want to start, the podcast that you want to start, the place that you want to go, the trip that you want to take, the adventure you want to go on, whatever it is, just do it. How often do we get caught up in excuses or putting things off, procrastination, or just not taking action on the things that we really want, or the things that we love and enjoy, or the things that you know will make the biggest difference in your life? So going back to that quote, the reason why it almost felt like a personal attack towards me is because I was somebody who almost was labeling myself as a perfectionist. So growing up in school, I was an academic student, so I strive for really good grades. And I feel like in school, students that are high achievers or that get good marks, we get caught up in always trying to be perfect, because that's the school system. You know, everything you do is going to be assessed and graded in a way from 0 to 100, from F to A. So anything that you hand in, it's always this idea that you need to make it perfect. It needs to be the best thing possible because you want to get the highest mark possible. You want it to be perfect, 100%, the A+. And I find that it develops this habit while you're in school that, yes, you work hard and you get things done and you hand things in and you're kind of listening to the teacher, you're going through the due dates, you have assignments due at certain times, exams, tests, whatnot, whatever it is. But the thing is when you kind of leave that environment, that habit, that thinking stays with you. The need to make everything perfect and exactly right, or having to know everything before you start or before you do something. And I feel like that was holding me back a lot in my life. And it was this fear of not getting it right, not getting it perfect. And so I would spend a lot of time trying to study and get everything right and get everything perfect and gather all the information I needed. And it was always this excuse that I would come up in my head, like, it's not right yet, it's not perfect yet, like I'm not ready to launch that, I'm not ready to start the Instagram page, I'm not ready to launch my first event, I'm not ready to start my podcast, I don't have everything that I need, I don't have all the ideas and concepts put together. And I think a lot of us get stuck on that. we're always waiting for the time to be right, for the environment to be perfect, for everything to kind of align and fall into place. And that when that happens, then you'll do it. Or when everything is perfect and planned out and executed, then you'll start it, because then you'll feel like, okay, this is it. This is going to go well, and this is going to be perfect, and now I'm ready to launch. When in reality, that's not necessarily always the case. And that's exactly what I learned when I did my very first event this past Saturday. Let me know if this is you too, if you kind of resonate with this, or if you're in the same boat. I always used to see myself as a calculated risk taker, somebody who would plan everything out, and a little bit of an overthinker and overanalyzer. So that event that I did on Saturday, I had been planning that for over a year. I thought about it so much in my head. I would go through it. I had the perfect plan, the perfect steps that I was going to start here and then go there and then finish there, that I was going to include this thing and I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to explain it that way. I'm going to teach it this way. I'm going to give them this. I had it all planned out, and I was meticulously like going through it and overanalyzing it and just constantly trying to perfect it, waiting for it to be completely right and ready before I launched it. And that's exactly what I did. And I know that helps me feel confident in myself and what I'm doing, and also that I'm making sure that I'm providing value for others and that I'm serving them in the best way possible. I'm doing my best. And it went great. I'm so grateful, and I was so excited with how well it went. I was so grateful that I put in that time and effort, and it showed, and that's what I'm thankful for. But the big lesson that I learned from that, the big epiphany moment, the realization that I had after looking back on that event and seeing how it went, was that no matter how much I planned, no matter how much I went over all the details before the event, that I tried to perfect everything and make it just right, the best learning and the best wisdom came from me actually doing it. The things that I learned from actually doing it, I would not have been able to learn unless I just did it. All the things that I practiced and did on my own is not the same when you're actually taking action and doing it in real time, when you're working with other people. That's when the biggest opportunities for growth and lessons come to you in ways that they could not have come to you before. And it's in that practice that slowly starts to make perfect, not in the planning that you do in your head. Because how often is it that our plans that we have, that we've like perfected and made just right, and then life shows up and has a plan of its own? And that's kind of how it works. But the best learnings, the best opportunities for reflection and progress and growth come from you actually doing it and taking action on the thing that you want and going for it and doing it in real time. It's a completely different experience when you're just thinking about something in your head versus you actually doing it and taking action on it. That's why you need a balance of knowledge and action. It's not enough to just have knowledge and information about something. It's that quote that I kind of always go back to with Jim Kwik. Knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. It really only becomes power when you use it. And a perfect example of this situation that I can share with all of you is I'm a high school teacher. And let's say I have 3 high school science classes, grade 9 classes. And so I'm teaching them period 1, 2, and 3. So the first time I teach that lesson, it goes well. I planned it. I spent a lot of time working on it and effort, getting it right, getting it perfect for the kids. And then I teach it first period and it goes great. But immediately I notice maybe some sort of gaps or something that I could do better, or another way that I could have said something that would help the kids and the students. And then second period comes, I make those adjustments and changes, and then that class goes so much better. And I learn from that class as well, and I make adjustments and changes. And then by third period, that goes the most smooth. That works out the best because I've done it 3 times now. It's honestly just the simple idea of practice makes perfect. There is no perfect, but the more you do something, the better you get at it. And the biggest thing that I got out of doing that event was clarity. It gave me so much clarity in my message and what I'm doing, things that I can move towards, like my strengths, while also trying to refine some of my weaknesses, but really just clarity in my message. And I honestly would not have got that unless I actually did it. I thought about it so much before the event came. I honestly planned it out and overanalyzed it and went over and over and over it again and again. But when I actually did that event, that's when the greatest insights came to me. And that's when I knew and found out how I can best use my skills to help other people in real time, in real life. And so going back to that starting quote, everyone's smart until they start. A lot of times we think we have everything figured out. We know the theory of it, the ideas of it, we understand it, but it's a completely different ballgame when you actually start doing it. And that's when the magic happens. That's when the biggest learning happens. And that's when the most opportunity arises as well. And so the main message of this episode that I want to share with all of you is just do it. Whatever it is that you know deep down, you know that there's something that you want to do or that you could be doing or that would really change your life. Go for it. Try it. Put yourself out there and just start. Instead of waiting for the perfect time or waiting for the perfect opportunity or for all the pieces to fall into place, that might not necessarily ever happen. And if you're waiting around for that, then you might be waiting a long time. Whereas life is only happening in this moment, in right now. And it's how you best take advantage of this moment in every moment that helps you move forward and make progress and get better every single day. You don't get better by just sitting there and thinking about it. You get better by actually doing it and taking action on it. And I bet even as I was saying this to you, something in your head popped up that you knew that you wanted to do or that you wanted to start and actually take action on. So please do it for yourself. There is something amazing that will come from it. Some sort of learning, some sort of growth, some sort of realization, an epiphany, some sort of opportunity. Something good will come out of you putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort zone and just doing it. Life rewards you for taking action on things that you especially love or that you know will help move you forward. And so hopefully this kind of encourages you and gives you some inspiration and to stop giving yourself excuses to wait for the perfect time or the perfect moment or for everything to be exactly the way you need it to be before you start. The opportunity is always available to you right here and right now. And the sooner that you start taking advantage and taking action on those opportunities, the better you'll feel, the more clarity you'll get, and the more you'll just move forward in the direction that you want to move forward in your life. And that's it, a quick one for me today. I hope that got you pumped up and you already know what you're going to go out and do and take action on. Thank you so much for listening. Also, thank you again for all the love and support from that event. I really appreciate all of you that have come my way. And like I said, I do talk a lot about awareness, and it's something that I think is so helpful to develop, like any other skill, that really is the starting point for you to have some sort of level of awareness so that you can take action, so that you can find out what excuses you're making and then move past them. If you're interested in the free guide I made, it is the 5 levels of awareness, and you can access it at www.itsavibe.ca/awareness, and you can get your free guide that you can use and learn from and almost use as a self-assessment tool to find out what level of awareness you have towards a lot of your problems and then also move towards solutions. So again, thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe this. Please send this to a friend and drop a rating if you feel so called to do so. And again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Until next time, peace and love. See ya.